the South African. So a big moment for him. Scored a number of tries in the lower grades over the past few weeks. And now the Parramatta Eels, and it's a former Bulldog who is captain for the first time today, Jarrod McCRACKEN. His return to Belmore, and this Parramatta side, minus some key personnel in the form of Jason Smith, Jim Dimmick and Dean Pay. With McCRACKEN as captain, it's MAYBON, Mahon, McCRACKEN, Barnes, LAWLER. The halves, Blackett and Freeman. A forward pack of Morgan, Campbell, Spence, RITSON, Raper and Johnston. And that is the milestone, 250 first grade games for Terry Lamb. Referee for this round 11 clash is Kelvin. So it's the blue and white of the Canterbury Bulldogs running from right to left on your screens for the first half, and first hit up is with big Adam RITSON. Very impressive last week in the Eels' 20-16 victory over St George. No more impressive though than this man, Peter Johnston. He carried the ball over the 20. Raper back in the lineup from injury. This is Matthew Spence. In fact, both teams last up winners, with the Bulldogs beating Illawarra. The last time we saw them 12 points to nil here at Belmore. Parramatta with Campbell, second hit up for Peter Johnston. 8 metres short of halfway, and last tackle for Parramatta with Gary Freeman. And this kick finding some space. Forward links up with MASRI. A wall of blue and gold jumpers there.
An excellent chase there from Parramatta, led down by Justin Morgan, slotting into the lock forward position. And up front, a lot of responsibility on Adam RITSON's shoulders. With the State of Origin representatives not there, he really is the only ball player in the front six.
Canterbury on their own 30, looking the right side of the ruck was Robert RELF, and able to play the ball forward. And the claim was from Morgan that he was at marker. They've said play on. An untidy play the ball, and Hetherington is ambushed by the markers.
Canterbury player feeling for a 6 again signal. That hasn't been the case. Ball goes back to Glenn Hughes. Rod MAYBON in good position, stops it with his feet. Terry Lamb, as he generally does, leads the chase.
Rod MAYBON was a match winner last week against St George, particularly in the last 10 minutes. With a number of incidents, he was the key man. One was caught short of the 20. Raper goes for a scamper from dummy half, and Hetherington and Gillies there. Some heavy defence. Blackett pushing it wide there for Campbell. He was the man who filled in at hooker last week with Raper sideline. Now it's with Johnston. Taken over the top by Hughes. Lamb was there to make the tackle down below. Fifth tackle for Parramatta. Again, it's with Freeman. And this kick straight down the centre of the park. A big boot from Freeman. And again, the chase is excellent from the Parramatta side. In fact, 8 of the 13 are there in one line, and forward trapped just beyond the 20. And Osprey on MASRI inside the 10 the Eels. Lamb wanted the quick tap. So up comes Robert TOCCO from the restart for the Bulldogs. Of course, two great clubs. They shared the honours in the 80s. 8 titles between them. That's head-to-head. Canterbury with a slight advantage there, and now some heavy defence comes over the top. Freeman and Spence on halfway. That was on big Darren BRITT. Lamb kicking before the last. And he's found space. MAYBON having to get across. Halligan leads the chase for Canterbury. So too the kicker of the football, Lamb, and MARINOS, in fact, beat them both there with a tackle. Lana's back for the hit-up. Tackle with John TIMU. This time with Morgan.
There's been a lot of talk about those state reps out, the likes of Pay, Smith and Dimmick. Man, they will miss is Chris King, the front row. Oh, intercept almost taken by Hazem MASRI. In fact, he did take it and then dropped it. A very poor pass inside their own 20 from the Parramatta attack. Gary Freeman, the cutout pass to RITSON. He didn't even really look. And the winger, well, he'll be disappointed with that. He should have scored.
It was only going to be a 20-metre run to the line for MASRI. Parramatta, though, with a feed. It's Freeman for Blackett. MAYBON ran an angle, but the defence was up quickly. Lamb with a tackle. Now again with Morgan. Strong start to the match from Justin Morgan, just 20 years of age. And now for Matthew Spence, who's only 19. Two teenagers in this Parramatta pack, Spence and RITSON. Raper away for Johnston, who assumes the mantle of veteran in the pack. Robert Relf made the tackle. Raper for Freeman at first receiver. Along the line, through the hands of Morgan. It was more a drop ball. Now MASRI gets his chance. Raper is back and does so very well. Aaron Raper.
Well, MASRI coming looking for the football. As Aaron Raper stays down hurt after a very good clean-up there, but he's proving very dangerous, the wingman, once again. This time Justin Morgan couldn't take the Gary Freeman pass straight out of the hands. Terry Lamb got obstructed. Now MASRI, if it hadn't been for Aaron Raper, would have scored. It's a tremendous cover-up by the Parramatta hooker.
Raper, of course, on the World Cup tour at the end of last year. Highlight of his career. And Adam RITSON straight, and he's left two defenders behind. Both TOCCO and GILLIES. Now Johnston. Shoulder over the top, TOCCO, trying to make up for the earlier miss. And not a good play the ball from Johnston. Raper spins out of dummy half. Right on halfway, Eels. No scorers yet. Canterbury and Parramatta. Freeman. A kick on first bounce to Damien Ford. He made a good fist at fullback. He didn't join the club as a fullback, he was more a winger.
The impressive thing about Ford at fullback is he gets to the ball quickly. He's caught out of position, he really makes an effort to get across, make sure the ball doesn't bounce too many times. And the defence from Canterbury so far in this game has been outstanding. Darren BRITT now gets a sloppy play the ball away. Picked up by Simon Gillies. That'll be play on off Aaron Raper. A little bit of good fortune there for the Eels. RITSON coming up with the rebound.
Ricochet it was off the forearm of Raper. And a good chance to attack here inside the Bulldogs territory. Last year when these two sides met, it was a close game. Parramatta winning by 6 points, 22 to 16. And that was in the middle of the turmoil at the Canterbury club as Blackett skips out two of the pass. Quick hands from MAYBON. This is Nathan Barnes away from MARINOS. MARINOS came from behind. In the end, it was a good tackle. 10 metres out from the line, Freeman along for Johnston. Johnston runs straight and straight into the arms of both RELF and BRITT. On the attack, the Parramatta Eels with Gary Freeman. A jink up to the line and TOCCO ball and all. Still 10 out. It's the last tackle for Parramatta. Freeman with a bit to say before the play the ball. Blackett kicks for MASRI's wing. They go high. Barnes got there first and lost it.
Well, a pretty good set of six there from Parramatta. The first time they've had any success going wide. And it was beautiful hands from Rod MAYBON to set up the break on the left-hand side. Nathan Barnes. In fact, it's Williams who came up with the knock-on. And the Bulldogs now take the attack metre outside their 20-metre mark and earn the penalty.
Canterbury back with Darren BRITT. Charge we've seen plenty of Darren BRITT in his third year with Canterbury. Oh, TOCCO, Johnston over the top. RITSON was down below. It was a combination. He was the meat in the sandwich of the Parramatta front rowers. POLLA-MOUNTER for Lamb. Oh! It's been knocked out of the play by Blackett. Oh, we've had two bell ringers. They're not the biggest players, but the collision sure was mighty. And now a penalty against the Eels.
A penalty going against the Parramatta defence, ruled to be inside the 10, but it came up with some brutal defence. Keith Blackett, a great shoulder charge on Damien forward. We saw Ford top one from Mahon a couple of weeks ago. This was in the same class. Sorry, Craig POLLA-MOUNTER. This is the first one on TOCCO. No surprise to see Johnston involved in the first contact. And have a look at this one. A 5'8" built very slightly, just timing it perfectly on the Canterbury fullback.
I bet you felt that one in the lounge chairs at home. That was a big shoulder from Keith Blackett. Penalty has created a chance for first points then for HALLIGAN. 32 metres out, 13 metres in from touch. A low tally for the year, only 34 points in 9 matches for Daryl HALLIGAN. Unaccustomed for such a small tally. Well struck though by HALLIGAN, no surprise with that. First points to the Bulldogs, 2-0 over the Eels. Belmore, LAWLER the restart for Parramatta. 2-0 the score, a HALLIGAN goal, and it's Hazem MASRI. Been the headline player to start this match. Now Damien Ford. He recovers quickly from the big knocks, that is one thing about Ford. Now TOCCO. Hard work getting them out of that 20-metre zone. Hetherington from dummy half. And he slipped at first and was still able to make 10 metres, Jason Hetherington. So Canterbury looking fairly sharp. Hughes with this kick. Mahon is back. Also MAYBON. And MAYBON on his own 30. Taken by the Bulldogs captain, Simon Gillies. This is Mahon. Lamb comes up with a tackle. He's been quiet in attack, Terry Lamb. The hit man, Keith Blackett. It's 5 or 6 metres. Shifting to the left, almost a forward pass from Raper to Johnston. Freeman cleaned up that time. Robert RELF came in, reading the play. Raper with RITSON. Good tackle as well from RELF again. Had no trouble felling the big player. Raper kicking from dummy half, his first kick of the match. And Ford this time links up with HALLIGAN. HALLIGAN not blessed with speed, but shows a bit of a fin that time. Got past two. Well, MASRI able to offload back for HALLIGAN. The Parramatta defence coming from everywhere. McCRACKEN came in. Probably the first time we've seen McCRACKEN involved in the play.
And I think that's a little bit of frustration from McCRACKEN that he hasn't been involved in the play, but he's come up with an ordinary attempt there at getting involved in the tackle. Will be penalised. HALLIGAN pushed back, and then he's led with the knee, Jarrod McCRACKEN, and deservedly gives away a penalty.
Decided to take the tap. It was Lamb for Hetherington. Parramatta on the back of 3 straight wins coming into today's match. And Canterbury, that win over the Steelers, only their 2nd of the season.
And also at the end of 4 straight penalties against them. That's something they'll have to turn around. One of the major reasons why the Bulldogs have been able to play good field position so far in this game.
POLLA-MOUNTER pushes on for Lamb. MARINOS has dropped it. It was a high pass. He still should have taken it. McCRACKEN cleans up, and now the Canterbury defenders have their turn on Jarrod McCRACKEN.
And that was another opportunity for the Bulldogs. Terry Lamb had opened up a little bit of a hole for MARINOS.
Well, it's on in back play as MAYBON runs up the centre. There were punches thrown here between Campbell and POLLA-MOUNTER. It was started just as a push and shove, and then a few haymakers.
Well, for Troy Campbell's sake, it'd want to be a Parramatta penalty because they are in possession. Let's have a look. There it is. POLLA-MOUNTER throws him to the ground, and I think it will be the Bulldogs halfback penalised.
Both players subject to the caution.
All right, gentlemen.
Judge from the far side is also in.
The man gets tackled, you get up off him, you play the ball, you do not walk forward, you do not in any way impede him. Did we talk about this at the start? All right, it's a penalty against you.
Yeah, it's going against Campbell. Canterbury penalty, that's a tough one tonight.
Morgan cops the call. 30 metres out, only a couple of metres in from touch. HALLIGAN going to look to find the line. The Bulldogs' best attacking chance of the match, and TOCCO rebounds away from RITSON. It wasn't a great attempt at the tackle, all the same from RITSON. POLLA-MOUNTER for Hughes. Hughes throws it forward for the HALLIGAN, who couldn't handle. No question it was forward, but they did open up on the blind side.
And the ease that they opened up on the blind side must be a major concern for Parramatta. Incredible to think that the Bulldogs haven't scored a try as yet. They passed well and truly forward. Wasn't taken by HALLIGAN anyway, but really it was a simple case of numbers there, and the Bulldogs created something from nothing.
The Eels under a little bit of pressure with Mahon. 15 out from their own line. And for the forwards to get them out of that zone. And Morgan obliges with that hit up. It was a strong effort. FREEMAN. This time, Troy Campbell. A real taste of first-grade football last year. Troy Campbell appeared on many occasions. In fact, he played in 18 games out of the 22.
And most of those were in the hooking position. He's back to the back row position that he came into the club as. Last tackle now, Aaron Raper going to the line side to Campbell. They're going to run the football. Not a good option.
Probably not a good option for the players that they had stacked on the blind side. Morgan and Campbell were caught on that short side as Canterbury with it on halfway. POLLA-MOUNTER, Lamb. Straight away into motion, the Bulldogs. TIMU almost around the outside of BLACKETT. And for POLLA-MOUNTER. Play the balls from Canterbury. HETHERINGTON. A long pass out of dummy half. TOCCO. Up there by JOHNSTON and Morgan. Terry Lamb just outside the Parramatta 20, kicking for HALLIGAN. Mahon was a little slow to turn, but MAYBON all the while had it covered. FREEMAN on their own line, and the Parramatta forwards a little slow to get back. So BLACKETT has to do this hit up. Hughes makes the tackle. On here for Morgan, lifted, driven. Canterbury showing some of the tackling commitment that took them, of course, to the premiership last year. FREEMAN got an offload inside the own 20. Now Morgan. The pass had come from JOHNSTON.
That is the last tackle, so that's magnificent defence from the Bulldogs. Gary FREEMAN forced to kick 22 out from his own line, and it is a good kick over the head of Damien Ford. The chase is a pretty reasonable one. So after a dangerous situation where it didn't make much ground, actually come up with a pretty good play at the end.
HALLIGAN doing the job this time up to the 40. HETHERINGTON on the right side for GILLIES. Carry for him. Able to make it into Parramatta territory. Work the blind side on the right side of the field this time with Darren BRITT. Doing the tough work and getting easy meters for BRITT in the end. He made 15. POLLA-MOUNTER kicks for the corner. MAYBON gets across, LAWLER loses, and Canterbury have a try. Oh, a mix-up almost between, well, it is a mix-up between MAYBON and LAWLER, and MASRI has snaffled the ball.
This great POLLA-MOUNTER kicking into the corner, and MASRI, really his third chance to score a try this afternoon, and finally, probably the worst opportunity for him to do so. I've seen him come up with the points. Just a simple miss there from Chris LAWLER. Rod MAYBON couldn't correct the mistake. MASRI flying through. This will show things up perfectly. Good bounce for the Bulldogs. LAWLER didn't get a good bounce. And MAYBON couldn't retrieve the football, but the winger could.
Over 1,000 points in the career of Daryl Halligan. This one right from the sideline. Back past the 20. Good view of this one. Halligan swings it back into the upright. So the Bulldogs, they lead the Eels by 6 points to 0. With LAWLER, whose error led to the Canterbury try, first one of the day, and Robert RELF picking up where he left off in the last match against the Steelers. He won our Optus Man of the Match award. And now for Andy MARINOS. He represented South Africa in rugby only at the sevens level, not test football. As TOCCO was wrapped up that time by McCRACKEN. Hetherington darts away from dummy half for another 10. Lamb with Hughes being the first choice kicker for them today. Rod MAYBON searching for open space. He almost found it. He got through the tackle of TIMU. Cracking away for Blackett. POLLA-MOUNTER was first man in that time for Canterbury. Now Peter Johnston and TOCCO. Flung him sideways. There's a real sting about the Canterbury defence today.
Well, I've liked the Canterbury defence the last few games we've seen them play. And that was always going to be the problem for Parramatta this afternoon, was breaking sure if there's a bad pass from Aaron Ray, but cleaned up. And no real pressure from this Parramatta side in attack on the opposing defence. A lot of one-out stuff. Gary Freeman this time finds Damien Ford on the full.
Ford with a dummy to MASRI. He's prepared to take on all four of the Parramatta chasers. Slide back with RELF. They're all quick to get back and carry the ball forward, the Canterbury forwards. That's a notable difference between the Canterbury effort and the Parramatta performance so far. Hetherington, POLLA-MOUNTER, on for TIMU. Get on the outside of Blackett, offloaded, forward ball, says Kelvin Jeffs. Scrum on halfway.
Attention, Mike.
Parramatta from this scrum, holding the ball in there. Back row of Morgan. McCRACKEN gets the boost of the crowd. Great ball from Mahon. And Glenn Hughes doing a sweeping job there with a tackle. Freeman. He gets through the gap, Gary Freeman. Now an offload for Barnes. avoids the sideline well. Eaton is across there, but they're only 10 metres out, Parramatta. Freeman and Blackett. Johnston is the decoy. Cuts out a man with a pass from McCRACKEN. Through the centre, another offload, this time for Campbell. Wrapped up 11 metres out. Just to the right of the Canterbury post. Raper. Inside here for McCRACKEN. Getting busy, the Parramatta captain.
They do have numbers to the left if they can get the ball there quickly.
It's Freeman. He does that now for Blackett. He throws a terrible pass. Here goes MASRI. Over the 40-metre line. Lawler leading the chase and gets there. Oh, I'm surprised by that. I thought MASRI had a little too much toe. Canterbury still on the attack. MARINOS down the blind side. Trapped just inside the Parramatta 20. Oh, that was a terrific chase from Lawler, who had the turn. Now Glenn Hughes. Canterbury still threatening points. They're only 10 metres out from the Parramatta line and they lead by 6 points to 0. A bad pass, well held by Gillies. Now for Darren BRITT. Just for a moment, the momentum has stopped on that 10-metre line. Back to the right, Hetherington, Lamb, dummies, bounces away from Blackett and loses the ball.
Well, I think you've got to blame the Parramatta lack of depth in attack for that intercept. Great chase from Lawler. He's given one away, but he saved one. Players really have to get deeper in attack, and MASRI, he swooped. He looked as though he'd go all the way, but young Chris Lawler, he picked him up fairly quickly.
Parramatta from this scrum, well, the front rower got out there, Newton, to make the tackle on Freeman. And Freeman, he played the ball. Blackett, he is hit this time. Hetherington and POLLA-MOUNTER. Oh, that was a big tackle. And Canterbury driving in now with BRITT. Look at this tackle. A dual effort. Parramatta now, Raper and... Oh, again. They're lining them up and they're knocking them down just as quick. This is a real spirited performance from Canterbury. They're putting the bite back into the Bulldogs' effort. It's forward. Over halfway.
And the biggest difference between these two sides this afternoon is the speed that the defender is getting to the attacker. The Parramatta defence, look at this, coming up very slowly. And Canterbury are faced by Parramatta players with the football. They are rushing up to make the tackle.
Well, Jeffs on this occasion looked to both touch judges for some help. And there was none coming. Morgan reefed it out. Should have been a Canterbury penalty.
And an obvious one as well, wasn't it?
Break needed for Parramatta. Freeman this time runs into the ball and all effort of Terry Lamb. Two of the veterans, two of the oldest players in the Optus Cup. 34 years of age, I said 44. I feel it after today's match. The big tackles are coming thick and fast as Johnston it is. Running an angle. Makes the tackle. An overlap on the left with quick hands. Well, there is quick hands, but the pass was misdirected. Parramatta 35 metres out from the Bulldogs line. Last tackle with Raper. He runs to the line, puts the kick in. Ford is across and covers up well. Being led by Lawler. MASRI. Canterbury with rhythm. I guess for all the good work they've done in this match, it gets back to their problem, which has been there since day one, is putting points on the board. They have struggled. Only one try last match against the Steelers. In fact, I think the tally is 14 tries in 9 games for Canterbury in 1996. Last tackle with Lamb. This time looking to find the line with a kick, and does that so well. 40-metre gain from Terry Lamb. RITSON on the bench for Parramatta. Chris Anderson would be reasonably pleased with the effort of his charges so far. Parramatta with Blackett. He stepped, they slipped there. It was Terry Lamb who slipped in coming up. Created half a chance for the Eels. MAYBON with Morgan. So he's been their most willing forward for Parramatta, Justin Morgan. Freeman, wide for McCRACKEN. Play Matthew Spence has limped off for Parramatta. The right leg heavily strapped. Parramatta with Mahon and then McKenzie. Just inside Canterbury's half, Gary Freeman. He was looking for a runner. Well, he found Mitch Newton. Not the wall he wanted. Raper kicking on the last. Is this going to be a little too deep? Ford is hoping so. It stops short of the dead ball line. Ford with some breathing space. Spun almost away from Mahon. And now Daryl Halligan.
And this is where the Eels need to lift their defence, as their opponents did at the other end of the field not so long ago. Really got to rush up to make the tackle. Parramatta giving much too much latitude to their opponents when they're running the football out of their danger area. Good run from Reardon.
Looking to offload as well. Terry Lamb has men on his outside, but again kicking towards the sideline. And Rod MAYBON comes back, so that kick wasn't a deep one, didn't really come off for Canterbury, and now compounded with the penalty. So Parramatta a good chance to get into the Bulldogs' half.
Well, it's taken a long time to come. That's the first penalty the Parramatta side have received in this game. 5-1, they are down in that department. Chance here for the Eels to mount some pressure with a full set of 6 in their opponent's territory.
Parramatta with a Johnston. Without those ball players, Jason Smith and Jim Dimmick. Raper. Freeman shifting it along for Blackett. Now MAYBON into the line. The defence was good from POLLA-MOUNTER. That forced the loose pass. And that is terrific tackling from Canterbury, led by their little halfback Craig POLLA-MOUNTER.
The inside passes from the Parramatta backs are way too slow. But Gary Freeman and Keith Blackett running the football too far if they're going to eventually pass it wide, taking all the space away. RITSON again met in a bone cruncher by Reardon and BRITT.
RITSON running without any support if he does get the hands free, and he is a player who can offload more often than not. Raper, a dummy half, caught there by Hughes. Campbell gets the kick away, and it's well placed in the end. Ford under a little bit of pressure back on his own 10-metre line. For MASRI. Well, the Canterbury wingers are certainly putting in this match. Hazem, MASRI and Daryl Halligan doing their job. Hetherington for GILLIES. Through the tackle of Freeman, and Hughes at full pace is over halfway. Glenn Hughes now inside for Hetherington. Hetherington tackle just inside the 20. It was Nathan Barnes who came from behind. TIMU. Canterbury, can they score here? 10 metres out. TIMU goes himself and gets there for the Bulldogs. John TIMU scores Canterbury's second try.
Well, it's been awful defence from Parramatta. Firstly, discharge from Simon Gillies. Freeman missed the tackle. Baker went low, and Glenn Hughes looming up on the inside. Pass back to Hetherington. He was taken by Nathan Barnes in cover defence. And then John TIMU went to the right side of the field. See there, no urgency for the Parramatta side to get back at all. And it's an awful miss out wide. Looks like Justin Morgan might have come up with the missed tackle on John TIMU, but a soft try. And I've got to say that I'm surprised that they haven't run in more points.
Wide again, hasn't made the job easy for Halligan. the post with his last attempt. And basically the same mound. Halligan again, won't swing this one back. But Canterbury looking good at 10 points to 0 at Belmore.
See here, John TIMU skirting, thrown little dummy. In fact, it was Adam RITSON who came up with the mid-tackle, not Morgan. Simple try there for the former All Black.
Parramatta without points so far, and signs there that Canterbury could well rack up a big score. Price is on the field now. Stephen Price in 15 for Canterbury. Hetherington with GILLIES. Certainly played his part in the lead up to that try. Hetherington, play this time for Reardon. Basically playing a 9-man pack Canterbury with a bench they have, Newton, Price and Reardon. And this is Mitch Newton. So Anderson getting full value from his troops. Hetherington with Hughes. Now for Lamb. And that was an important tackle from McCRACKEN, because Canterbury had numbers on the left. Hetherington kicking from dummy half. This is a good kick from Jason Hetherington. Right to the corner. And Rod MAYBON. Chase led by GILLIES. And an assist from that man Reardon. Parramatta in all sorts of trouble. Barnes has lost the jumper, but happy not to go over the sideline. Now Johnston trying to work his way out of trouble. Adam RITSON. That's 5 metres with that hit up. Eels, Raper. Now with McKenzie. But the Canterbury defence not missing too many tackles. Then it's the last tackle. Freeman kicking. And Ford well positioned. Morgan the first tackler in. But certainly the players with Canterbury right now. Halligan for MASRI.
The players with Canterbury because of their defence. They're running this game because their defence is so much stronger than their opponents. Every time they've got the football, there seems to be more space. The Eels really aren't rushing up to make the tackle. Canterbury have been bruising. Here's Mitch Newton. He is a former Parramatta player. Tries to get away, a miracle pass. Cleaned up by Halligan. But the referee has seen a knock on. The crowd do not agree. First observation, neither do I.
Let's watch it again. Halligan. I'll go with a ref on that one. So Parramatta with Blackett, McCRACKEN, well contained by the Canterbury defence. Normally only 2 or 3 steps, and there's been a defender there. Now RITSON. Aaron Raper. Cross for Morgan, but there's no real guessing for the Canterbury defence. It's pretty plain the Parramatta attack right now. There's Campbell just taken out by Reardon.
The other problem too, Andrew, is I think that Parramatta play the football slower than any team in the competition. At this level, you just can't do that. There's no momentum gathered. Gary Freeman gets away. A good kick this time. Ford coming across along with Halligan. They let it go towards the sideline. Halligan picks up, offloads to Ford. He's taken by Blackett and McCRACKEN.
Kicking before the last 2, Freeman, when nothing was doing, and POLLA-MOUNTER makes 10. A 10-metre gain that is hard to come by for Parramatta right now. Time Raper came up to make the tackle on GILLIES. Hetherington. Lamb. He shipped it wide. He skipped out Newton with a pass. An offload from Hughes. Back for Newton. He's almost desperate to try and get that ball over the top. You can see MARINOS had a passage down the right side. It's with Terry Lamb. Again kicking down the wing of LAWLER, who was up in the line, and MAYBON across. And the chase led by Terry Lamb. LAWLER. I guess the only good news out of the first half for Parramatta is that if they can come up with a converted try, then they're only 4 points behind. The match at least is not out of reach.
Well, I think, Andrew, even if they went in 10-0 down, with the way the first half has gone, they'd be quite happy with only that deficit to face.
Raper away this time for Morgan. Parramatta well and truly trapped inside their own half. Back play, Gillies is down for Canterbury. That kick over the top. Oh, a bounce that got them all out. Backwards and right.
And Raper scooting out of dummy half on the blind side, deciding whether to kick long, to feed Scott Mahon, or to put the chip over. The last of the three options. Not long to go in this first half.
Canterbury from the scrum. TIMU on the outside of Lamb. Blackett and McCRACKEN with the tacklers. Lamb this time for Price. But Canterbury on halfway with Hetherington and Steve Reardon. Cleaned up over the top by Nathan Barnes. Canterbury just inside Parramatta's half. POLLA-MOUNTER, inside ball for Gillies. He tried to fend there on Morgan, who held on well in the tackle. Hetherington, POLLA-MOUNTER, inside the final 60 seconds with Lamb. On a pass back for POLLA-MOUNTER, who had nowhere to go. Last tackle with Terry Lamb, kicking for the corner, with Rod MAYBON back on his own goal line. With a reach down between the legs, he almost lost the ball. Mahon from dummy half, and I have to say this is an area Parramatta have spent a lot of time running the football out. The kicking game of Canterbury has been spot on, their placement. Freeman for Rod MAYBON, away from POLLA-MOUNTER. Offload for Raper, now in turn to Johnston. He needed another man on his outside. He loses the ball. A knock on that should bring us up to half-time. Siren has sounded, and a weary-looking Peter Johnston. They've been on the end of some bruising Canterbury defence. That defence has led to points. Canterbury lead the Eels by 10 points to 0. We'll take a break and come back with the second half from Belmore.
Season's on again. Remember those late Sunday nights, eyes propped open, but always missing the finishing? Well, things have changed.
Wake up to Formula One prime time.
Fantastic!
Local hero Jacques Villeneuve goes for glory at the Canadian Grand Prix tonight at 9:30 on Channel 12.
I hear you guys worship Aussie rules. Hey! What sort of religion is that?
Unbelievable.
You're watching Sports Australia.
Back, second half of football, and Parramatta down by 10 points to 0. Canterbury in search of only win number 3 for the season. Stephen Reardon has earned an appearance to start the second half after a strong effort off the bench in the first. And Hetherington across for POLLA-MOUNTER, now for Price. Johnston, own jarring defence over the top.
There we see the handling errors going against the home side, and that's probably hurt them on the scoreboard. Missed tackles, maturely against Parramatta. I really think on the first half performance here, the Bulldogs probably should have built up more than a 10-0 lead as POLLA-MOUNTER. Oh, it's John TIMU, he's tackled just over halfway. And now Glenn Hughes will look to kick the football deep, and he does. And MAYBON coming across on his own 10-metre line.
Canterbury chasers there, Lamb and Gillies. Terry Lamb, 250 first grade games today. Parramatta with Mahon. And 3 times the Dally M Players Player. Amongst his many achievements, he lists that as one of his proudest. This is Campbell skirting wide. He was forced to come back infield under the defence of Price. Parramatta with Raper. Now McKenzie. Good front-on tackle from Reardon. They've reached tackle number 5. That was a better play, the ball setting up the kick, but maybe it wasn't.
No, he lost control of the football in attempting to play the football, McKenzie. I think the referee got a call from his touch judge, and rightly so. See here McKenzie getting to his feet. Might have been a little bit of a hand there, but he really had no great control or ball security.
Thought it was quick. Canterbury inside Parramatta's half. Terry Lamb, flash about that run, ran straight to the tackle of MAYBON. Now POLLA-MOUNTER. Away Gillies for TIMU. Halligan unmarked down the left side all the way to the corner. Daryl Halligan scores for Canterbury. Oh, that was easy for the Bulldogs.
Yes, and it was the Simon Gillies pass that attracted 2 Parramatta defenders that opened up the passage for Halligan. Nothing really happening here. It's a staggered Parramatta defence. Very poor work there from Keith Blackett. MAYBON, who was standing fairly shallow in defence, couldn't come up with the try saver. You'll see here Keith Blackett comes in on Simon Gillies when there was no reason to. That created the overlap. John TIMU only had to draw Scott Mahon to put Halligan away on a 15-20 metre run.
Halligan has this kick to convert his own try. He's had 2 from the sideline today. This one 11 in from touch. Getting that points tally up, but he's not in the top 10, which is most unusual for Daryl Halligan. From 20 metres out. And this time he's on song, Daryl Halligan. And Canterbury stretch that lead to 16 points.
Daryl Halligan.
Well, whatever Ron Hilditch said at half-time has not been taken by the Parramatta players. It has become 16-0. Fast getting out of reach this match is Hetherington. Gillies. Hetherington away for Newton. Raper around the legs. McKenzie to push over the top. Boot going loose out of that tackle. The owner of the boot is Newton. POLLA-MOUNTER. POLLA-MOUNTER. Straight past Johnston. Away for Lamb. There's plenty of Canterbury support. Now with Hetherington. Away for Price. And Price puts on the speed. Inside the 20. Barnes makes the tackle. Oh, they were coming from everywhere, the Bulldogs. It still should be a try on the right side. Lamb floats the pass for Gillies, and he scores try 4 for the Bulldogs.
Again, a simple try, that one, all coming from the other end of the field, where Adam RITSON is playing out on the fringe of the ruck, and that's nowhere where that front rower should be. He threw the dummy. In fact, you had both Peter Johnson and Adam RITSON out wide. Back-up work from the Bulldogs was superb. Stephen Price racing onto that football. Looked as though he might go all the way before Nathan Barnes could come up with a try saver. And then Terry Lamb, with his vision, he could have picked up 3 players on his outside to score this try. It was Simon Gillies who plucked the ball out, but he had MASRI on his outside. Very simple work here in the game, just about gone for the Eels early in this second half. Very controlled effort here by the Bulldogs. And now all their work in the first half is starting to be rewarded.
Halligan in quick succession shots at goal, this time from the opposite side of the ground. 5 in from touch. That's what's ahead for Daryl Halligan. This one drifts across the face. Canterbury running hot right now, 20-0 over the Eels. Well, what we've seen since half-time, I dare say, has been the most confident passage of play from the Bulldogs in 1996. And Damien forward, wrapped up there by Raper. But the support play was outstanding from Canterbury. Stephen Price. Good speed, showed in support.
Yeah, he's a fine young player, Stephen Price. Of course, he scored the first try in the grand final win last year for the Bulldogs. Struggled to make it into the starting lineup this year, which is a fair indication of the depth still at this Bulldogs club. A player like Adam Ritson in defence, you cannot afford to have him any wider than the closest player either side of to play the ball. They paid the penalty there. The ball back now to Glenn Hughes. He get a good kick away. Rod Mahon first bounce, takes it 30 out from his own line and brings it forward. Before I fade into LAWLER, very good fashion, good cover again from Terry Lamb.
Terry Lamb, tackle set it all as Morgan straightens up the attack. 35 out from the Canterbury line. Parramatta, no points. Johnston feels that one over the top from Reardon. Well, he gives plenty, and that time he was receiving serve. Blackett, MAYBON, and Parramatta now with McCRACKEN. Was there in Gillies. RITSON, where's the support for Adam Ritson? Not there, and he was through the first line of defence. He got through the tackle of Hetherington. Last tackle here, Freeman. And Morgan kicks for the wing of LAWLER. Barnes is there, but first home was Damien Ford.
Much better set of 6 there from the Eels, and a good kick at the end from Justin Morgan. Going to the line, bringing everybody up. Damien Ford had some work to do, but he's got good acceleration. Gets there in front of Barnes and LAWLER. Matthew Spence still receiving attention in the background for the Eels. This is just about being their closest evidence scoring a try this afternoon.
Canterbury, I can't recall a line dropout today. That one only gets a little over the 30. Matthew Spence, who was down receiving attention, has the hit up. And able, well, he thought about playing it forward. Raper gets from dummy half for another 10. Now 10 metres out from the line. Canterbury now having to defend. Gillies is out of the line. He's limping to the flank. So Parramatta, 5 metres out, down by 20 points to 0. Freeman, he looked to pass to Blackett, then throws a high ball across for Johnston. The Parramatta line not moving forward. Raper, Ritson with a step on that time. 5 tackles used up. Still 5 metres out from the line. Raper, a kick aimed for the in-goal area and covered up by Canterbury. POLLA-MOUNTER, I think, is the player it is.
Yeah, poor option taken by Aaron Raper there. There was bulk of defenders on the far side for the Bulldogs. He was never going to thread one through, and we had a full line back to the left. And there, Craig POLLA-MOUNTER did a great job. He put the foot out, got the rebound into his arms, and all the pressure off. Stephen Price now, the step takes it 23, 24 metres out. Simon Gillies still receiving attention in his own in-goal area. A penalty to the Dogs.
Takes it to 6-1, the penalties to the Canterbury side. So the Bulldogs with Mitch Newton. Simon Gillies still receiving attention well behind the play. Simon Gillies, Canterbury captain, POLLA-MOUNTER.
He does spend a lot of time on the ground, Simon Gillies, I must say, in matches. I think he goes down 2 or 3 times every game. I know there's criticism of Ray Price for doing that. Really durable, he does get back up.
from the field as Canterbury continue to attack with Hughes. And now Terry Lamb with Darren Britt. And Britt centre field, 35 out from the Parramatta line. This is the last tackle. Lamb is in position for the kick again, placing it for the corner and pulling it up again. Terry Lamb, rare form with a boot, and MAYBON is met by three defenders. MASRI and Lamb were the first two there. Not far behind was MARINOS. And Blackett cops some close to the Parramatta line. Canterbury really looking to shut Parramatta out. They've coughed it up the Eels. Lamb. Oh, Jeffs has ruled a penalty. The call was late, but it obviously came from the touch judge on the grandstand side.
A sigh of relief there from Nathan Barnes. Grabbed the football out. It was the hand of Stephen Price that brought the ball loose.
Kick the line. Gets them out of trouble. Peter Johnston. Through his usual workload, 15 hit-ups, 14 tackles for Peter Johnston. Now Adam Ritson. Far behind in the hit-up stakes, 14 hit-ups for Adam Ritson. This is Marty McKenzie, Hetherington. There is that driving style of the Bulldogs hooker. Raper. This is Freeman inside, on the end to the outside, and just a wall of defenders. There's Raper again. Inside that time with Morgan, who's broken the line, Justin Morgan. And Parramatta keep it alive. McKenzie, I thought he got a hand to it before the boot, and that's the way Jeffs has ruled.
And I'm just wondering whether Rod MAYBON was held before the pass was thrown from Justin Morgan. We see Morgan coming back and throws the little dummy. That gets him through the line. There's MAYBON in the background. Glenn Hughes, well, it was touch and go.
So Canterbury from 10 metres out from their line. POLLA-MOUNTER sided half a gap. MAYBON had to get across. Morgan a lot forward from the scrum. Price, good hands for MARINOS. He got away from Barnes. Lamb, field now for Britt. Inside the Parramatta defence able to cover up, but they're down by 20 points to 0. They need something to happen, and certainly not another Canterbury runaway try, as Hughes was through and tackled by McKenzie, but a knock on at the end of that. Hasn't made too many mistakes today from Glenn Hughes. In fact, he's playing as good as I've ever seen him play, Glenn Hughes.
I think he's been the Bulldogs' best in the football.
Well, there was a hand there of McKenzie.
It was indeed.
With Parramatta. Keith Blackett across a high ball. Barnes has lost it. Lamb, that was on the first tackle. Through the legs of TIMU. Just wants to play a knock-on both ways. No advantage for Canterbury, so the blue and white should have the feed.
Well, if I was a Parramatta centre, I would be screaming at Keith Blackett to throw the football straight away. Instead of drifting across field and then throwing hospital passes like has happened most of the afternoon. Somehow Parramatta have come up with a feed from that mistake. So 3 calls in a row have gone the Eels' way.
Well, I can't even find a knock on both ways from that one. It went through the legs of TIMU. So Parramatta with it with Ritson. Ritson thunders forward, away for LAWLER. Trying to take Hughes on the outside. Raper. They needed a quicker play the ball. Freeman, a real chance to spread it. Shifting across for Blackett. He stepped away from MARINOS. Now for Morgan. Is there a try for the Eels? MAYBON that scored with Mahon. Parramatta have made it onto the board, and that wasn't a bad try.
And I've just given Keith Blackett a serve, but on this occasion he was instrumental in setting up the try, stepping back inside. It was a beautiful ball from Adam Ritson to Chris LAWLER on this side of the field that allowed this space out wide. The Bulldog defence up very quickly. Poor miss from MARINOS. Morgan scouting out in the back line, threw his man. So too did MAYBON. And Scott Mahon finished things off beautifully. Here, the good long cut-out pass from Gary Freeman was a good one. Awful miss there from MARINOS. Justin Morgan did very well. He drew his player. So too MAYBON. stopping up, allowing a little bit more space for Mahon, who gets the ball down out wide.
Lawler had quite a wait for this first shot at goal. From the sideline, 25 out, leading point scorer last year for the Eels, Chris Lawler. And this one, not a bad first attempt, but wide. But Parramatta on the board. It's the Bulldogs 20, the Eels 4. Canterbury with that 16-point advantage. All the same with the effort they've put in today, they won't want to let Parramatta get back to within 10. The Eels, Justin Morgan, who was involved in the passing of that try, he's been very impressive today. Johnston this time was tackled over the 30. Raper away with Campbell for RITSON. He's getting a lot of game time certainly today, Adam RITSON. This time he's got himself a penalty. It was against MARINOS. Parramatta will start this drive 35 metres out. Peter Johnston leads the charge. Taken in the tackle of Reardon. Raper across for Freeman. Pushing it along for Blackett. Brings MAYBON into the action, then McCRACKEN. And again, the Canterbury defence has been right up on Jarrod McCRACKEN. Freeman inside for RITSON. RITSON shrugs his way through. Just outside the Canterbury 20. Parramatta, can they get points on here to get back in this ball game with Campbell? Campbell for the corner. On the outside, an intercept from Canterbury. There were 3 Parramatta players there. He's the miracle worker, Hazem MASRI.
He just keeps bobbing up in the right place, doesn't he? Now he's a dummy half, finding MARINOS 10 metres out. They went through fairly easily here. Troy Campbell straight through the tackle of that man. And then only had to be a well-directed pass. As you point out, 3 Parramatta players on the outside.
Britain offload. Canterbury with POLLA-MOUNTER. Got through this set of 6 quickly.
Shown centre, Andy MARINOS, I'm assuming he's young. He hasn't had a lot of rugby league experience, rugby union background, 23-year-old, but he really does have a few problems in defence. Here he comes now on MAYBON. That one's a much better attempted tackle, or completed tackle.
Well, he looks a grabber in defence, Andy MARINOS. Has to give your opponent half a chance. There's McKenzie. Good run from Marty McKenzie. Gets it up to the 40. So Parramatta just a couple of sets of 6 together now. They've left it too late. There's certainly time to get points on the board. Johnston. Wrapped up there by BRITT. MARINOS has actually been replaced with Hughes. The centre, Stephen Hughes is on. Blackett gets a kick away. It bounces to Damien Ford. And Damien Ford out of trouble. Turn out from his own line. Canterbury with Daryl HALLIGAN. I guess, Peter, when you've lost so many matches during the year, it can become a bit of a habit. Canterbury really haven't been in this position this year, so far in front.
No, that's right, but there's enough experienced heads out there to make sure that they do the right things to maintain that. Good offload from Newton. Obviously, Hughes tackled who nearly lost the football. Miraculously, was able to hang on to it. No, in fact, the referee, the touch judges report the game, you would imagine, seen a knock on.
Well, I'll argue that he never actually lost control of the ball.
It did appear that way. Another good ball from Mitch Newton. He attracted two Parramatta defenders. They should end up round behind his back. Tough to pick up.
I'll contest that it was still in the grasp of Hughes. There's Freeman. Keith Blackett again. He goes on that crossfield run, and Lamb and Hughes shut him down on halfway. Barnes takes the role of dummy half that time. Mackenzie. Parramatta inside the Canterbury half. McCRACKEN from dummy half. That's about as far as he's been allowed to run today, and that was only 7 or 8 metres. With Johnston attracting those Canterbury defenders. Hetherington was first there. POLLA-MOUNTER and also Darren BRITT. Freeman along for Blackett. He's looking for an inside runner. He finds RITSON. RITSON an offload. It's come loose. Parramatta back with it. The tackle count restarts. RITSON got to the ball. It was knocked down by Lamb. Now for MAYBON. MAYBON a step away from BRITT. The Eels are on the attack. 5 metres out from the Canterbury line. It's with Blackett. Fired across for Freeman. And Freeman held up. Parramatta centre field. Down by 20 points to 4. Keith Blackett doing plenty of running, but not creating chances there as Lamb made the tackle. Aaron Raper for Freeman. Shifting across field. That ball wasn't knocked down by RELF. Surely it had to be by the way, or the place where it ended. RITSON back over the 20. Freeman back with Mackenzie. Mackenzie a fend away from one, then the offload inside. Freeman gets to the loose ball. Now Adam RITSON. There's numbers here on the left, and Blackett was taken by Hughes, who came up with a double. Still on Freeman. And now Morgan. Up in the tackle with Stephen Price. Canterbury doing well to hang on. There's Campbell away to Freeman. This is the last tackle. Kicking across for Mahn's wing. He's onside. Mahon, and he loses the ball. It would have been a try.
When you get that much of the football, I believe that it should have been a try. Flying high. It was a perfect kick from Gary Freeman. Landing just as the chaser arrived. Scott Mahon, he gets above Halligan. Halligan's hand knocked the ball out there. The line drop out resulting another good call for the Parramatta Eels.
That line drop out 45 metres. Peter Johnston. Back he comes for Parramatta. 25 metres out from the Canterbury line. Was that a knock on? Raper goes from dummy half. Eels right on the attack. Mackenzie now. Parramatta. Can they get themselves a try? Because they've certainly got the momentum at the moment. MAYBON. He tries to get on the outside of TIMU. That's a good tackle from the Bulldogs centre, John TIMU. Raper again. Freeman. They just don't seem to be able to shift it wide quick enough as Blackett is caught in possession yet again. Oh, that's 12 occasions in this match he's been tackled. Freeman. Last tackle for Morgan. Into the in-goal area. MASRI and Ford combined. Ford is there. Another line dropout.
Well, all the momentum is with Parramatta, but unfortunately their cause isn't being helped because they're not turning that into points. Tremendous defence here from the Bulldogs. Game covered up.
Line drop out again with Terry Lamb, and basically same story. MAYBON the big kick. This time it's RITSON who'll bring it back. RITSON. And the defence is there to make the tackle. It was Gillies and BRITT. Peter Johnston. Such a strong player, Peter Johnston. So consistent. Freeman. Keith Blackett. Holding it up that time for Morgan. Inside the Bulldogs 20 now. And it's Campbell who put a spin on in that tackle. They're edging closer, 10 out. Blackett, Freeman, that's on the outside of Blackett. Then it was McKenzie, I think, who put the ball down, and a knock on against the Parramatta side. In fact, it's play on for the Doggies. So any challenge from Parramatta is left languishing on the end of that.
Yeah, good strong hit there from Jason Hetherington in the last couple of minutes. That's won the game for the Bulldogs. If the Parramatta side could have put some points on after all that attack, may have been able to come up with a grandstand finish, but the fact that the Dogs have held fast, see them go on and win this game comfortably.
24 it is in first grade as TOCCO, an offload for Hetherington, and away for Robert Relf. He gets up to halfway. In reserve grade today, also a win to the Bulldogs, 22-10. Looking for the double, it's Hughes. He stepped away from McKenzie. Wrapped up on the last tackle. Look, this has been a good set of 6 from Canterbury. With Terry Lamb kicking this time down the centre of the park. Rod MAYBON gets there on first bounce. Lamb is first man there and makes the tackle.
Well, the combination has been great, hasn't it, Craig POLLA-MOUNTER and Terry Lamb? They've missed POLLA-MOUNTER early in the season when he was out injured. Terry Lamb, well, you can just see his enthusiasm still for the game. The greatest test of that is kick chases. He's kicked a lot today and he's been the first man down on most occasions. And that's infectious. It rubs off on his teammates.
Blackett tackled on the 30 for Parramatta. It's now again with Peter Johnston. And another carry for him. But it is the last tackle, and it's got to the point where the kicks have to be attacking ones. Freeman thought about kicking to Halligan's wing, changed his mind to MASRI's side, and MASRI gets there before LAWLER. A little bit of a two-step by both players. MASRI trapped just outside his own 20. Ford has lost it a dummy half, so maybe one last chance for Parramatta if they can make that big finish.
Forces coming to the sideline. Our English player there, Damien Ford, just having a look where he's going to pass before picking the football up. Forces goes into the centres. RITSON comes off, and it looks as though they're reshuffling the forwards with Jarrod McCRACKEN packing into the second row.
Freeman from this scrum outside the 20. Blackett steps back into trouble there as Gillies had broken from the scrum. Stephen Hughes was around the legs. Gary Freeman with Morgan. Trapped by TOCCO that time. 15 out. Parramatta getting used to being camped inside the Canterbury 20. Get that try as McKenzie got to within 4 metres of the line. Raper across for Freeman. Spreads it wider for Blackett. Lamb came out of the line and Blackett is trapped. Hughes over the top. Relf was down below. Freeman thought about kicking. Then for Campbell, it was a short pass. They're 5 out. Last tackle. Johnston a dummy half for Freeman. That might be Johnston's last appearance at dummy half. The kick just brushed the post on the way through. POLLA-MOUNTER is back and back to the field of play. Well, Raper led the charge, but POLLA-MOUNTER was a little too good.
And it was a slow charge. It's a good kick from Gary Freeman under pressure. Not too many other players reacted on the outside. Goes through there. There's no way knowing Craig POLLA-MOUNTER should ever have got back in the field of play, especially with the ball taking a little bit tip off the post. Disappointed his teammates on that performance. There's an offload here for Hetherington. A little bit of space out wide. Lamb plucks the ball out of the air. And tackles centre field, 21 out from his own line.
So Canterbury, Hetherington and Hughes. Fell awkwardly in that tackle. More into the arms of Raper. Big tackle for Canterbury. Raper, or rather Lamb with that kick. Back for MAYBON. And Rod MAYBON trying to link up on the far side, but he was just shot down by Simon Gillies. And enjoyed that tackle. Now their lone try scorer, Mahon. And still plenty of chase coming from the Canterbury defenders. MAYBON, away to McCRACKEN. Well, Ron Hilditch, the coach, has reacted to what has been a, you could say, I guess, a spasmodic contribution from McCRACKEN as captain today. He's only been seen on rare occasions with a ball in his hands. So he's got him a little closer to the action. Freeman kicks over the top. MAYBON on the chase. The bounce good, though, for Ford. And Ford the counter-attack to the foot. Now MASRI. Well, on what we've seen today, Canterbury will draw bigger crowds as we get to the business end of the season. The crowd today just over the 7,000 mark. As they go through the centre again with BRITT.
Oh, beautiful offload there from Robert Relf. Into the ruck, on to Darren. BRITT's normally the other way as Terry Lamb kicks for himself, gets taken out. Morgan cleans up and it will be a penalty.
Right in front of the Parramatta posts and the touch judge is on. I can't think it to be anything but the incident that the referee has ruled on.
Looks like Aaron Raper being spoken to. Of course, the player doesn't have to get out of the road. If he moves to get in the way, and that's when the problems result. Well, again, that's not a good angle to see it as such. It will be a further 2 points. Daryl Halligan will throw this one over. Let's just have a look. Here's Terry Lamb going. Aaron Raper. Well, I don't think Aaron Raper moved at all. I think that's a pretty tough call against him. He hasn't moved to get in the way of Terry Lamb, but he has dropped the shoulder, I suppose, and he did have a fair bit of time. So, yeah, we'll run with the referee's decision.
And Halligan from right in front. There's another 2. Canterbury, their biggest win of the season. This will be 22 points to 4. Parramatta with LAWLER at restart. Just wide of the uprights with a kick. And it's Robert Relf who runs close to the ground. The tackle from Raper driving in. Now a little over or inside the last 10. Canterbury have put back-to-back wins. There's Price. Hasn't seen much game time off the bench in the last 2 matches. It's been surprising. He's been on the interchange, but it's almost as if Chris Anderson has forgotten that he was there until late in the match. Today he's had plenty of time. And now Mitch Newton. An offload back for Hetherington. Hetherington in turn for Relf. Quick hands for Gillies. Gillies still standing in the tackle. Was wrapped up by Barnes. It's the last for Canterbury. Parramatta's line was never back to 10. POLLA-MOUNTER kicks. Touch judges ruled the chasers are onside. MASRI flies high, but Parramatta equal to the task. Little Rod Mahon. Yeah,
Little Rod Mahon, he stands tall on that occasion. As he did in the last 10 minutes against St George last week. He's just about been Parramatta's best this afternoon. MASRI coming through, but beautiful take from Mahon. Safe as a bank at fullback. Aaron Raper now finding Peter Johnson. A bit of support on the outside, he can't find Fawcett.
And Peter Johnston, would you believe, 24 hit-ups in the match. McCRACKEN stands in the tackle. Parramatta keeping it alive with Vince Fawcett inside the Canterbury half. That's where the play ends on the last tackle. The play to the left, and Raper decides to kick to the right. It's come off the side of the boot, and that is terrible play from Aaron Raper, and he knows it. Canterbury with TOCCO. Kelvin was there. They get another tackle for the Parramatta cause. Now Gillies. Johnston is looking for one of his specials there on Simon Gillies. The loose play the ball. In fact, no, they don't rule players offside attacking sides, but Hughes certainly wasn't dummy half yet, picked up the ball. Now it comes away POLLA-MOUNTER and Lamb. Inside pass, TIMU. Ended there in the tackle of McCRACKEN and Fawcett. 30 metres out from the Parramatta line. Can they put the icing on the cake with a finish as POLLA-MOUNTER gets inside the Parramatta 20? 22 points to 4. Lamb, he has the kicking job this time. He kicks high. Let's see if MAYBON can come up with the answer this time. It comes loose for Hughes. 5 metres out. throws it past. Jeff's had to duck to miss and force it back for Parramatta. Well, a late let off for the Eels as Morgan gets it back to the 20.
Been very impressed with the Canterbury back row this afternoon. Glenn Hughes, Simon Gillies and Robert Relf, as they generally do a lot of work between them. Some nice little ball work from them as well. Glenn Hughes, as we pointed out, probably his best game that we've seen in the top grade. Gillies limped off at one stage, but he's back out working. And Robert Relf, an underrated player in this Bulldogs lineup. He's already won a man of the match from us this season. And he's playing, might pick up another one.
Freeman and that pass, but the Canterbury defence in one straight line making the tackle on Campbell. Lamb again with a tackle. Gee, he's got through some defence. Freeman kicking. Ford had come up thinking it was going to be the short kick over the top, then had to turn around and go back. But he did it all with a great degree of competence. Damien Ford, as he has done right through this match. Only one error from Damien Ford as HALLIGAN away from the defence. Kenzie and Barnes with a tackle. As Terry Lamb has 26 tackles next to his name today. POLLA-MOUNTER, he's lost the ball. Turnover here with McCRACKEN, back for RITSON. It's been knocked out of the hands there by Lamb. Now for MAYBON. Across for Freeman. Quick hands Barnes, and now LAWLER down the left. Plenty of cover there for Canterbury. Still a good sign late in the match. Stephen Hughes with a tackle. Barnes away from Hughes. Hetherington makes that tackle. So Parramatta well and truly outclassed today, and they will be so happy if the likes of Pay, Dimmick and Smith can get through Origin 3 tomorrow night without any problems. And Raper. Gary Freeman. Back for Keith Blackett. He turns and is caught again by the defence. That was Gillies the tackler. Last play, Parramatta. Is there any variation there? MAYBON taken in the tackle of POLLA-MOUNTER. Quick hands. It was McCRACKEN back for Raper. He just puts the bomb up. He doesn't lead the chase. Ford has knocked it back. It's play on though for Canterbury. Just out from his own line. He slipped. Blackett makes the tackle. So just an anxious moment, and striking out with a boot was RITSON and penalised. Frustrating day for the big fella as Canterbury the tap from full.
He's still been very impressive, Adam RITSON. He could achieve anything in this game. But all the skills, I can't believe that there aren't players on his left and right shoulder every time he takes the ball forward. Here's good movement in the football game. TOCCO into open spaces. Great cover tackle there from Vince Fawcett. Forces a mistake.
Rising speed off the mark too from Robert TOCCO once he got the ball in his hands. He was almost away. It was as you said, Peter, a good tackle from Fawcett. Parramatta stay on the attack though. Raper, some free running for the Eels hooker. He then kicks, and oh, that is a miraculous take from Ford. How did he do that? Kicked it straight into the breadbasket. Almost winded him with a kick. MASRI.
Well, miraculous take, and also fairly miraculous that Aaron Raper could come up with the tackle, because if he didn't, Damien Ford runs 60 metres. Dummy thrown by Stephen Hughes. Finds Gillies. He's got his arms free. Cleaned up by a Parramatta player, maybe Aaron Raper.
It is indeed Aaron Raper getting back for that. But Canterbury showing the attacking skills we just haven't seen this year.
And I wouldn't like to be playing the Bulldogs in the next couple of weeks, Andrew. They'll be on 6 points after this game. They've played all the top sides. Great success there. But you feel as though they're just starting to warm to their task now. The defence is rock solid. And the ball movement's been really superior to what we've seen this year. Good ball from RITSON to Keith Blackett. Can't find support. Good cover again from TIMU and Robert Relf.
There's still some tough games for Canterbury ahead. The Roosters, the Knights, the Sharks, and then the Tigers. As now they go through the gap. Caught forward by Jeffs. It will not matter. Full time, and the Canterbury flags are flying more proud than they have been all of 1996. 22-4 over their old rivals, the Parramatta Eels here at Belmore. Now Optus man of the match in his 250th first grade game for the Doggies, Terry Lamb, an inspirational performance.
Are you ready for this? Sports ESPN brings you the X Games. Are you ready for more? The X Games begin June 26 on Sports ESPN.
Tonight on Channel 12, high-flying action with the Aussie rules match of the round. Then after the Formula One Grand Prix from Canada, the final clash of the 1996 Rugby League State of Origin.
Let's take a look at the starting grid for today's race. Our sons are on the front row. Damon Hill, his 16th career pole by 0.02 of a second over Jacques Villeneuve. And you can bet that disappointed this Canadian crowd. On row 2, Michael Schumacher in the newly refined high-nose Ferrari, the 94 winner of the Canadian Grand Prix, alongside John Alesi, who won this race last year for Ferrari. The top 4 men in points in the top 4 positions on the grid. On row 3 will be Eddie Irvine, who was 3rd in this race a year ago for the Jordan team, and Mika Hakkinen in the McLaren Mercedes. On row 4 will be Gerhard Berger, the 93 Canadian winner in the Benetton, and Rubens Barrichello, who was the runner-up a year ago for Jordan. On row 5 will be Martin Brundle, starting his 150th Formula One Grand Prix with his 8th team, still looking for his first victory. David Coulthard alongside. He had a huge engine explosion and fire in the warm-up, but they have replaced the engine. He is in his race car. On row 6, Olivier Panis, who was 4th here a year ago for Ligier, and the Sauber Ford of Heinz-Harald Frentzen. On row 7, Jasper Stappen in the Footwork Hart and the Tyrrell Yamaha of Mika Salo from Finland. On row 8 will be Johnny Herbert in the Sauber and the Minardi of Giancarlo Fisichella. On row 9, Ukio Katayama in the Tyrrell and the Ligier of Pedro Diniz. On row 10, Pedro Lamy from Portugal in the Minardi and the 40 Ford of Luca Badua. And on row 11, Ricardo Rosset, the Brazilian rookie of the Footwork, and Andrea Montermini of Italy in the 40 Ford. All 22 drivers entered are in the field. No one fell foul of the 107% rule in qualifying. The circuit here on the Ile de Notre Dame in the St. Lawrence River has been modified for this year's race, but it is still slippery and bumpy. Let's talk about it, Eddie.
Well, these circuits that are used only once a year are always slippery because they don't get very much running on them. But the difference in this circuit from last year's, if you look on your screen from 10 to 12, they've taken out that little kink they had in the straightaway, and now it is a very, very fast straightaway where they got up to almost over 190 miles an hour in qualifying. This is a circuit that will take a lot of